Hi guys, welcome to Free Tutorial TV and Python course for beginners. And in this video we will talk about Python inheritance. So first of all, what is inheritance in Python? So classes in Python can be extended, creating new classes, which retains the characteristics of our base class. And this process is known as inheritance. Now in simple words, the idea behind inheritance is that a new class can borrow the behaviors and method from another class. Now the inheritance involves two types of classes. One is our superclass and the other is our subclass. Now the subclass inherit members of the superclass, on top of which it can add its own members. For example, any other member method or variables. So here subclass is the one who is doing the borrowing of the members. And the superclass is one from which subclasses borrows these kind of member method and variables. Now if this inheritance sounds to be a little bit confusing to you, let me give you an example. So I said inheritance. There are two types of classes. One is a superclass and either is a subclass. Now in this example I have taken polygon as a superclass and the two classes that rectangle and triangle, as does some classes. Now if you see carefully, what is the relationship between the rectangle and polygon, and a triangle and polygon? So rectangle is our polygon, right, and that triangle is also a polygon. That means the rectangle can inherit some properties from the polygon class. Also triangles can inherit some properties from the polygon class. And the relationship between the superclass and the subclass is defined by our relationship. That is our relationship. So rectangle is a polygon, and triangle is polygon also. That means that rectangle and triangle can inherit from the polygon class. So in inheritance the subclasses is our relationship with superclasses. So let me give you one more example. So as a superclass, you can think of an animal class, and then as subclass, you can create a dog class, cat class, rat class, because all of them are animals. So a dog is an animal, cat is an animal, rat is an animal. So always remember, when you use inheritance, that is our relationship between superclass and the subclass. Or let's take our real life example and let me try to explain you this concept with some code. So I'm going to create a new project in my PyCharm IDE, and this I'm going to name it as inheritance, and I will choose this option, open in current window. And also this option which says add to the current, open the project which is going to create the product in the same window. So now this project is created, so I'm going to go inside this project and I'm going to create a new Python file here, and I'm going to name this file as polygon, because we are going to create a polygon class, and inside this polygon doc file, let's first create a class called the polygon, and inside this polygon class what are the attributes which we want to add here? So rectangle and triangle. What are the common things which they both have? They both have the weight and the height. So we are going to first of all create a variable called width. And we will initialize it by value none. The none keyword is used whenever you want to assign nothing to your variables. In the same way I'm going to use height and I'm going to assign none to that also. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to create a method here. So let me define a method using def. I'm going to use this method to set the values of width and height. And this method is going to take two arguments, one is the width and the other is the height. Right now, if you remember, in the last video I have shown you how to make your variable private, so you use double underscores in front of your variables to make them private. So I'm going to add this double underscore in front of weight and height. That means these two variables are private. Now using the setValues method I'm going to just set the values of the height and weight, so self dot underscore underscore width is equal to width and self dot underscore underscore height is equal to height. So this is the polygon class which we have created, and it's our superclass. In our case, right. And now let's define two subclasses. One is a rectangle and other is a triangle. So let's define other class called a rectangle. And inside this rectangle I'm going to define one method. Let's say this method is an area method, which is going to give us the area of the rectangle. And what is the area of the rectangle? The area of the rectangle is the multiplication of the width and the height. Similarly, I'm going to define triangle class also. So let me define the triangle class here. And let's say this triangle class also have this method which is area. Now what is the area of a triangle? The area of the triangle is the multiplication of width and height divided by 2. So we are going to divide the multiplication of width and height by 2. This is the area of the triangle. So now we have defined three different classes. And we are saying that polygon is the superclass and a rectangle and triangle is our subclasses. Now how we can inherit the properties of the superclass, which is polygon, into our subclasses, which is rectangle and triangle. So in order to inherit from one class to another you use this parenthesis. And inside this parenthesis you write the name of your superclass. And that means your rectangle is inheriting from the polygon class. Similarly, when we write this parenthesis and the polygon class here, that means triangle is inheriting from the polygon class. Now when a subclass inherits from a superclass, the superclass member variables and the methods are accessible. Also using the subclass also. So let me give you an example. So I'm going to create the instance of a rectangle first of all. So let me just write rectangle. So this is a rectangle instance. And let's create a triangle instance also. And now once we have triangle and rectangle instance, let's use this rectangle instance. And when you write dot here, you can see IntelliSense say is that area is available for this object. And set the value is available for this object. So when you use set value, you can see we haven't defined the set value method inside the rectangle. But because we are inheriting from the polygon class in do, or rectangles loss, all the members of the polygon class are available using the rectangle object also. And what this method takes, it takes width and height. So we are going to provide there. And let's say a height 50 and 40. And once again we are going to use a triangle object and we use the set values. And this time also let's say I'm going to provide the same values here. And what does this set value method is doing? It's just setting the values of width and height inside the polygon class. Now in order to calculate the area, you can call that area method from the rectangle and the triangle class. So let's just do that, and I'm going to do this inside a print method. And I'm going to just call there rectangle object dot area, which doesn't make any argument. And the same I'm going to do for the triangle object also, so triangles dot area. So what do you think will happen now? So let's run the code and let's see what will happen. So I'm going to right click on this file and I'm going to just choose a run the polygon, and it's going to run the program, and you will see it gives us an error. And what is the error? The rectangle object has no attribute rectangle underscore underscore width. That means because this vet and hide are private member variables of their polygon class, they are not accessible from the subclass, which is the rectangle class and that triangle class. So you cannot inherit the private members from the superclass into the subclass. So what is the solution here? So what we can do here is we can create that getter method for the width and the height. So I'm going to do exactly that. So let's define a method called defGet_width. And it's going to take no argument and it's going to return the value of. Using self we can access the value of __width. It in the same way we can define method called get_height here. And it's also not going to take any argument but we are going to return on the value of the height. So self.__height. So now we have created the getter method for the width and height. And these getter methods are the public members. Why they are public? Because we haven't used the double underscore in front of these two methods. And these two methods now we can use in place of these private member variables, which we were trying to inherit in the subclass using the superclass. So instead of __width, we can write self.getWidth, and also here instead of __height, we can use getHeight. Similarly we will do the same for the triangle class, or getWidth and .getHeight. Now let's run the program again and let's see what happens. And now when I run the code it gives me the area of rectangle using this print line statement, and then it's going to give me the area of triangle, which is exactly the half, using this line of statement. So let me once again minimize this, and let's recap what we have learned. So we have created our superclass, and two subclasses. Superclass is polygon, and subclasses are rectangle and triangle. And in order to inherit from the superclass, you just use parenthesis and the name of your superclass. And that means in our example the rectangle is inheriting from the polygon class. Next, what we have learned is all the public member variables or the methods are accessible from the subclass, from the superclass. So setValue method and getValue method is accessible because they are public methods. But __width and __height are not accessible, because they are the private members variables, so you cannot inherit the private member variables into your subclasses. Now we have seen this example in which we have created two instances of the classes. One is rectangle objects from the rectangle class, and the other is triangle object from the triangle class. And first of all, we have used the set method, which is coming from the polygon class. It's not the part of the rectangle or the triangle class to set the values of width and height. And then we have just called that area method from these two classes in order to give us that area. So this segment is used to set the values, so it has set the value of weight and height, and using this getWidth and getHeight method, this value is returned and this values return in two subclasses, and then the multiplication of these two issues gives us the area here. And the multiplication of these values divided by to give the area of the triangle here. So this is how you use inheritance in Python. I hope you have learned something new this time. And I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching the video and supporting me by liking and sharing the video. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. We will see you again.